Welcome back to the channel. On the last video, I said we're going to start tearing into the International 986, the steering, the front end. That video ended up doing a lot of talking, not much work. So we're going to actually get to work in this video. I haven't watched any videos or looked at too many parts diagrams yet on how this comes apart, but we're gonna start tearing into it, see where we get. So I got the tractor up on jack stands. I don't have any tall jack stands, so I used some 6x6s and 4x4s and some 2x12s. But we got the tractor up, front end's off the ground. Those jack stands are rated at 6 tons a piece, so they should be plenty strong for this. And I was just looking at how we're going to approach this, and I don't know if this is the best way, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to remove, or try to remove, this front main pivot pin. It has you see a cotter pin there, and then I believe that should be a retaining pin. It's the cotter pins in. We're going to see if we can get that out. And then also, trying to get my camera under here. These 3 bolts here hold this ball stud, I believe is what it's called, at the back end. So I think if I can get those 2 out, 2 hydraulic lines, we should be able to lower this whole front axle assembly out of the tractor and move it out in the middle of the floor where we can work on it. So we're gonna give that a try, see what we can do. If not, I think we'll have to get in here and remove these trunnion bolts from the hydraulic cylinder and then possibly remove this cast yoke piece here. But we'll see. We're gonna try and pull that main pivot pin first. Everything's been painted over, so that adds a little more challenge, but we'll get through it. All right, we got the cotter pin out. I'm gonna see if I can drive this main pin out now. All right, we got it moving. Luckily, my punch is about the exact right size for this hole. I don't want to get it stuck in there, though. Let's go to the other side and we'll pull out see if we can pull the pin out. So before I try to pull the pin out, just because it's a little tight, I have this is just a stem off of another punch. We'll put that in there and then see if I can't drive it through as far as possible. We'll use this other punch here, the bigger one we started with. All right, it's starting to move pretty easy. I didn't have to drive that all the way in. So we'll go around the other side now and try pulling it out. All right, you see the pin sticking out here. All right, that wasn't too bad. I have a feeling that was the easiest part. I cleaned the grease and dirt that was packed in around this zerk. I'm gonna pull this grease zerk out. I'm sure this pin's gonna have to be hammered out at some point, so I don't wanna risk tearing this up or breaking it off, so we're just gonna pull it out now, get it out of the way. So looking at this a little more, I won't be able to drive that pin out towards the back of the tractor, obviously, because again, this yoke's in the way. So I believe what we're gonna try to do here is there's a roll pin. I don't know if you can see it. Just barely see the roll pin in the top there. I'm gonna drive that roll pin out and then see if we can't, that pin just comes straight down. Get that pin out, and then we'll just see if we can get that yoke and just slide it out of the way without disconnecting everything else. If so, then we might be able to drive the main pivot pin there out towards the back. But we'll see if we can get this pin right here out. If so, then we'll get the floor jack underneath the axle so there's not a lot of weight on the main pivot pin. See if we can't drive it out backwards. Okay, we got that roll pin driven out. Got it here in my hand. I didn't record it. I couldn't get an angle where I could show you the top of that pin where the roll pin was at and get in there with a punch and a hammer without just standing right in front of the camera. So I didn't record that. I don't know if this is the best angle. I think you'll be able to see the best from what I'm doing, but this pin right here where my hand's at is the one we're trying to get out. So we'll see. I'm gonna try and pry from the top a little bit. And then if I can, then I'll be able to get underneath the bottom. So see how it works. Basically just using the crowbar, trying to pry down from the top, and we're already getting a little movement on it. It's actually coming out pretty easy. Hardest part is just trying to get an angle in here to work on it. Trying to avoid obviously hitting the pin itself if possible. So right off, there's a little bit of a ridge you can feel right here, but not bad, and it might actually be some corrosion. I'll get this cleaned up obviously and get a better look at it. See just a little bit of wear right through here. But the pin's actually, I think, in better shape than I expected. All right, we'll keep moving. I'll forgot to put the camera back in place. I'm prying that yoke out. And there are some washers or shims on the top. I got these two, and then there's one still on the bottom. It's a little tight yet, so we'll keep an eye on it. And we'll make sure we get it and keep them separated. So I'll get the camera set up here for you again. Apologize for the funny angle on that. Just trying to find a location. I think that'll be out of the way enough. I'm gonna try and get you in close here. I just wiped some grease out just with my fingers around that pin, but I'm gonna try and get you in close to see what we got. So I guess that close, it's really hard to see, but it should be the other end of the main axle pivot pin right there. So what I'm hoping is I can drive it straight backwards enough. Let me show you. Basically enough to get it out of this housing right here. So it's gonna come back about 2.5 or so inches, which we should have clearance back here to do. I should be able to drive it back about 6-8 inches if I wanted, but as long as we get it out enough, then we can move to the back side here. All right, I just put the jack underneath to take the weight of the axle, and I think I have enough on there, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit this pin a few times and see what we get. All right, so far we're getting nothing.
All right, we decided instead to pull the front bolster off. It's only 4 bolts. We got pretty much everything broke loose. We're gonna cheat a little bit here. I'm gonna leave 2 in part way. All right, we'll put that one back in some. I'm gonna put them in part way just to help hold it as I lower everything. All right, I'm gonna leave that one in part way also. And we'll get this back one taken out all the way. I'm gonna start lowering this axle down. I just want to see if it'll move before I go after that back part. Yep. All right. Excellent. Let's move to the back and we'll go after the 3 bolts that hold that ball stud in. All right, we got the hydraulic lines disconnected. We got these 3 bolts loose, so we're just gonna run them out with the impact gun. I'm gonna move the camera back now. We're gonna start letting the axle down. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Keep going. Keep going. That's good. All right, with the help of my son Logan, we got this pulled out here. Say hi, buddy.
Hi.
So I noticed when I was loosening the bolts on this rear mount for, I guess, the rear ball stud or whatever you want to call it, 2 of the bolts were tight, just like you would expect. And then this one was snug, but it came right out nice and easy. And now I see why it was broken off. And you can see by the rust on it. It's been broken for a while. So let me show you the other side. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's the broken stud sticking out. So we're gonna have to probably get some heat on that and try and get that out and then get a new bolt. This is that ball stud I was talking about. It goes in the back there. I'll find out it actually does not look that worn. From what I've read, the little bit I've read so far, the point of those shims on the mount around this ball stud is that you can take a couple shims out and tighten that up. So we'll take a look at that. I guess there might be a chance we don't have to replace it, but I'll get it cleaned up, get a better look at it, make sure it's in good shape. All right, get our breaker bar hooked up. Right
All right, now we should be able to get back to the impact gun. Yeah, I just had to break it loose. If you look underneath here, this, and then the same thing up above, is where the steering cylinder attaches. I think they call that the trunnion. So there's two small bushings. I don't know if you can see them. The camera right on there. There's two real small bushings. I'm gonna see how sloppy they are or what those look like, but I'm guessing I'll replace those. And then the same thing here. This is where the pin goes up through the axle here. So the front of this trunnion. See a bushing there. And there's a bushing top and bottom again, so I think we'll end up replacing those. And then I'm still not sure on this the main pivot rod, or pivot pin. Let me get the camera set up. I can tip this axle back. Maybe I'll tip the axle back on this back end and see if I can't see what kind of plays in that. So we'll get the camera back on here in a minute. This way, this is pretty tight, but I don't know if you guys can see that on camera. There's just the smallest amount of play right in here. Let me see if I can get the camera right on that pin. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's just a little bit of movement. I'm hoping it's just a bushing in there that's bad. So we'll have to get this pin drove out to get that bushing replaced.
I think we're gonna cut that video off here for now. We got the axle out, obviously. We're gonna go through one more time and double check what parts we need and make a parts list so we can get everything ordered. Then there's still we get that center pivot pin out, and there's still some disassembly work to do, but we'll do that on the next video. This one's getting pretty long, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope this is helpful so far. If anyone's going to be doing the same work.
If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like and subscribe button.
Thanks everyone for watching. See you on the next one.